What is an example of sexism you have experienced? I, female 15 at the time, took a Bible class in school, and we were learning about the woman with the blood problem. My male, 60 teacher looked me straight in the eyes and said, imagine being pregnant while bleeding. I was obviously appalled and said that's not how that works, and the woman wasn't pregnant, she was just constantly on her period. He got mad at me for bringing up gross feminine problems and told me not to disrupt class. When I made a suggestion about improving our customer service in a staff meeting, and I got that's a lovely story. So glad we have kind hearts like yours on our team, from my boss. But when a male coworker makes the exact same suggestion word for word in the next meeting, we actually did this deliberately a while ago, just to see my boss goes, that's an excellent idea. What resources would we need to pull to make this happen? To which my coworker turned to me and said, do you still have that proposal outline you created? My mother and grandparents had an overt preference for my brother. As a child, when I visited my grandparents, they would make me vacate the most comfortable seat of their living room for my brother. They also told me to wash his dishes after he ate because, according to them, this was my duty and not his. My mother expected me to be her elderly care provider and never put the same expectation on my brother, instead encouraging him to succeed in his career. At the same time, she discouraged me from moving abroad for work because she thought it was my duty to stick around to cook, clean, and care for her. She wanted to determine my career path, making sure that I wasn't too successful. Thankfully, my father was more supportive. I ran my own painting company. There was a staggering amount of times that I would be hired for a job, so the clients knew I was the boss, and then when me and my crew of 3 men would be working, the clients would go up to all of the guys to ask them boss-level questions before coming to ask me. My guys were great about it, and would always answer, I don't know, you have to ask the boss about that. Every time, until the client took the hint, being asked by a coworker to babysit his kid while he worked. We had the same hours. I was in charge of a team of 3, myself and 2 dudes, to forecast the local and coastal weather for some Navy and Army boats in Korea. The Navy captain not in my chain of command yelled at me because a ship outside of our AOR suffered a crossed line with another ship due to a collapsing morning shower at sea. I told him what probably happened and that the ocean isn't our zone. He went to my subordinate, a dude, to ask him his thoughts. He just repeated what I said, then all of a sudden the captain understood. I got no apology. How many people will ask if my husband is babysitting or expect me to be available for potty time whenever he takes his girls out? The sheer number of public men's restrooms without changing stations is ridiculous. My husband is my children's father, not their babysitter. I'm a woman in IT. I had the opportunity for advancement rejected on the grounds that I am not technical. 2 computer science degrees, countless certifications, a couple dozen years doing highly technical shit not technical, apparently. So it was even more surprising, or rather, not at all surprising, when the man they appointed had no technical experience. One example that sticks with me is when I was buying a car, and the salesman kept distracting me with all the questions to my guy friend even though it was my car and money. I was so pissed. Well, I manage an electrical retailer, and the number of men who want to speak to a man because a woman could not possibly know anything about machines or repairs, well, I've lost count. Our main engineer, bless him, once walked in at the him, so said bloke started to quiz him, and he goes, dunno, ask her. Girlfriend wanted a new car as her lease was coming to an end. I took her around a few garages to look at some compact hatchbacks, think Polo, Ibiza, and Clio-esque. She decides that she likes the Ibiza as it has a good spec. She knows what trim she wants. We go to the sales guy and she starts talking to him about finance and delivery dates of the color and trim level she wants. But he keeps directing questions at me. Bear in mind that I've moved my chair a bit away from the desk, but still there if my GF wants to ask me a question or my opinion. The sales guy delivers any answer towards me until I say to him, I'm not the one buying the car, it's not my money, and I won't be signing anything. He finally gets the point until after a few more back and forth starts addressing me again. I get up and go and sit in one of the cars in the showroom to show him it's not my car. After that, he was really good and actually apologized. It was nice to see that he learned, even if it did need a few tried to get it right. As a kid, girls would be taken out of class after lunch to wash up dishes in the staff room after the teachers. I took my infant son to an indoor play place. He shit, so I went to change him. Boom, no change table in the boysman's. I said fuck it and went into the girlswomen's. Can't leave my boy in a shitty diaper. I was judging at a Magic the Gathering tournament some years ago, and a player challenged my ruling because he wanted a male judge. My head judge chewed the player's ass up one side and down the other for that. At my last job, I was told I wouldn't be considered for a promotion because I might get pregnant soon. It felt like my potential was dismissed based on assumptions about my gender. My parents had 4 daughters and openly admitted they didn't want girls. A kid was late to class every single day due to football. Teacher never said anything. I was late once because my locker was stuck and I needed the janitor to help me. When I walked into class, the teacher said in front of everyone she must have had to fix her hair. I was a team manager, all men, and we all needed to start driving box trucks for a project, so I got a training company to come and give a course to everyone on my team on driving large vehicles. I went in last. First, the guy assumed I was the assistant secretary. Then he kept making comments on how women are worse drivers and it may be difficult for me to get a hand of it, etc., etc. I grew up on a farm. I drove tractors before I drove a car. Also, I was in the army, and before requalifying, I had trained as a truck driver. I'm a 24-year-old woman bus driver. Where do you want me to start? I had a physics teacher in 11th grade who gave me a B because girls don't get an A. That was 25 years ago.